So this is another thing. They need
It's like, how are we meant to even judge what's on and offside and onside?
100% agree.
Onside and offside, because they weren't even giving us the proper angles.
I was looking at the we'll go on to it more in a minute, guys. But we'll go on. I was watching the Chelsea game last night, and when Werner scored that goal, I was thinking, well, if it's offside, surely you can show us as well. Like, what are you seeing that makes that offside? Because at the same, similar to what you're saying, Skunda, like they're not showing us the correct view. Like, we can't tell.
Yeah.
I think that should change.
Yeah, that should change.
Oh yeah.
You know what?
But more on Everton.
You know what? If it's not clear enough for it to be offside, if it's just a frigging show, just give the goal, will you? Because you wouldn't even see it. You wouldn't.
You know what? I actually looked it up, and I don't think I actually fully understand it. It's actually quite complicated. I looked it up, and there's a thing called, I think it's called the observer effect, and basically what it means is if something is so tight, like let's say, in example, the offside line, you've got two players, defender, striker, they're pretty much in line. You can't tell. What the observer effect, what that means is that when things are so close, but you're looking at one to see if one's ahead of the other.
Yeah.
When you look at it, it distorts the actual view of the whole thing.
Right.
So it makes it so therefore it's not exactly valid. If that makes sense, because it will look like one is ahead of the other, but then when you look at the other one, the other person, other player, it will look like, in some instances, from some angles, it will look like they are ahead.
Right. Okay.
So when basically the premise of that idea, the observer effect, is basically saying when things are so close and tight, if you're using like the technology, like the lines and stuff, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It still has the same effect when it's when you're applying it with humans viewing it. And so when things are so close, and when you try to look at it, your perception of looking at it changes the reality of it.
Yeah.
So things will look like, he is offside, but then if you look at the other player, like, well, no, he is offside, or something like that. And that's why for those things who are so tight, you can't actually make a decision on it.
No. Well, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. It really annoys me. It really does annoy me. I feel they should go back. We use VAR, but they should go back to like the old ways where if I feel like they've got to evaluate it as though. Would they have spotted that? Would they have spotted that offside if it was in real gameplay and without VAR? Would they have spotted that? If it was
probably not.
You know what I mean? So if they wouldn't have, I think they have to bear that in mind, though. They have to bear that in mind, and then they'll go. Actually, I wouldn't have spotted that if it was in normal, before the day of VAR, wouldn't have actually spotted that. Let's give the goal. You know what I mean?
What I believe is that, you shouldn't be.
You know what I mean?
You shouldn't be offside because of your arm, and because the reason I think that is because your arm. Hold on, Joey. Joey, no. I believe just the arm. Because, and the reason is because you don't use your arm for football. You're not supposed to. So therefore, if you're pointing to where you want the ball, if you're using the arm, which is technically not supposed to be used in football, why should it be counted in an offside decision and then used against you? Because the momentum is another argument as well.
The arm isn't exactly. It's not really the arm. The arm doesn't count. It's the shoulder. But the shoulder is.
No, but the arm does count now because Werner's goal last night was disallowed because his arm was offside. That's why it was disallowed. None of the rest of his body was offside, just his arm.
Well, I mean, I couldn't even see the proper angles of it. That's the thing. Yeah. But it can't be. It can't be the arms. I don't know if the commentator's saying that. If they're saying that, it has to be the shoulder. It's never the arm. It's never like. Do you mean when you mean arm? Do you mean generally like up to the wrist?
No, I mean the whole arm. Like Werner was pointing where he wanted the ball. He was pointing forward, like towards Alisson's goal, and the angle that we saw as viewers showed that his arm was offside. Like the rest of his body was onside. His knees.
I'm certain it can't be the arm. That's not allowed. I feel like they didn't give us the correct angles. And even if they did, I don't think we would have found anything. I just think they just made a poor decision. But the arms, from as far as my knowledge, they've never ever counted it as being offside because the shoulder counts. That's why when you see it, like when they're like drawing lines from people's armpits and stuff, because technically, the armpit is still counts, the shoulder area.
Armpit? What?
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm not saying it's still ridiculous, but because those areas still count as the ball can hit those areas and be okay. The ball can hit like the shoulder and be okay.
Well, Skander, if you Skander, if you watch the goal back, I'm not like if you've heard something, well, fair enough, but I do. They are disallowing goals because players' arms have been offside. That's been one of the main controversial things this season. If you look at the Werner goal, if you look at it, his body's facing forward. He's pointing, isn't he?
In another match, there was another incident in another match where they give it offside because he put his arm out.
Yeah, and it is. Yeah, so the arm is.
Leeds United. I think it was against Bamford, because Bamford was pointing to where he wanted the ball, and because he was pointing with his arm, and his arm was offside, they disallowed the goal.
Yeah, I want to know where you heard
when
this.
When was the offside call in the game?
No, absolutely ridiculous.
All right, hold on, let's see it.
I want to know where you heard this, Skander, because it's been a thing all season. Like players have been caught offside because of their arm. Like, I want to know where you've heard this. Like, what made you think that wasn't?
Well, no, because I'm looking at the angles that they give us. Yeah, so I'm at the bit where it's hard to say, but when we're getting out, they're not drawing the line right from the wrist, are they?
That's the hand. That's the hand, but so that's a different part of the body.
I know.
But
I mean, the wrist isn't the hand. I mean, it's not even. They're drawing it from like the shoulder. That's where I'm seeing it from.
What, the Werner one?
Lines. If you look at the lines, I'm looking at the Werner one. Yeah.
Yeah, the Werner one. Yeah, the red line is coming down, just past his shoulder, but his arm is obviously the furthest point of his body, and the yellow line is, I think, behind where his hand is. And so he's offside because most of his arm is offside. Because he's pointing to.
They would have drawn the line. They would have drawn the line on the end of his arm if they were doing it on the arms.
They have. I'm looking at it.
There.
Yeah, they have. It is on the end of his arm.
I don't see it.
It is it, Joey?
What do you mean end of the arm? Do you mean like by the elbow or by the wrist? Because the wrist is the arm. Wrist it counts as the arm.
Well, this view is so difficult. But basically, from the view I've got, it's obviously not straight, but it's kind of like I'm trying to get where the angle is coming from.
I'm looking at it from the 3-minute video.
Yeah. So the angle I've got.
I've just taken a screenshot of it. Send it in chat. This is the one I'm looking at.
Okay, yeah, we'll do that.
Is offside, right? When the ball plays, Dijk is offside, yes, but Werner is onside. So that's why.
Is this the picture you're talking about? Yeah.
Okay, so I've got the picture that you've sent. Yeah. So Skander, it's because of his arm, because you can see his body is level with is that Trent? I think that's Trent. Level with Trent, but because his arm is pointing forward, and that red dotted line is going up, and it sort of connects with his arm. That's the bit that's offside. The rest of his arm. I think
it's going to his shoulder.
What, the red line?
Yeah.
No, it's in front of his shoulder. It's in front of his shoulder.
Well, if you look at his body's leaned forward, isn't it?
Yeah.
So. I'm talking at the ends of his shoulder. I mean, that's hardly. I mean, you can't tell me that's the whole of his arm. It's clearly not the whole of his arm.
But the majority of his arm. The majority of his arm. That's what I'm saying. That's what they've called offside, because from that red line, the rest of his arm.
Majority of his arm, though.
None of his other body, none of his other body part.
They would. Look at the arm. Look at the arm going. He's pointing forward, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at his arm, and you can clearly see over half, at least. Like, the angles are very hard to tell. Like, it's so blurry, but you can clearly see that. From what we can see, is that it's not even past his elbow, the red line. So I'm just assuming that surely they're trying to draw it from the shoulder, or they're just trying to, I don't know, they're just trying to give it offside because they don't like Werner.
You look closely, there's a red marker. There's a red marker going up, right?
It's so blurry. Look, it's
so
how can you
Skander,
tell?
Red marker going
so
up.
Skander, you're saying they're calling it from his shoulder, yeah? Yeah, they're calling it from his shoulder. Yeah, I agree with that. And what's offside is his arm that's pointing forward, the other side of that line.
Yeah, it is his arm. And it's not offside. That goal should have stood.
Yeah, I know, but we can't really tell from the angles. I think he's probably onside. But I'm just saying the line they're drawing is the shoulder. I'm pretty sure it's the same. It was the same. Do you remember? I think it was Liverpool versus Southampton. I think it was that game. And was it who was their striker for Southampton? The one that kept banging in goals.
Danny Ings.
I think it was Danny Ings. Do you remember when they were drawing lines from his armpit?
Oh yeah.
And he had his arm forward, didn't he?
Yeah.
So they're drawing the lines from his armpit. They weren't doing it from his arm or anything. It was from his armpit. I just feel like they're probably trying to do the same thing here, but it's so hard to tell from the angle they're given. Because why would they draw it from Danny Ings' armpit then? You know, when they could have just done it right from the arm, middle of the arm or something.
I'm a little confused to where you're getting at, Skander. I mean, the red dotted line is, from what I can see, is pointing up, just past Werner's shoulder, right? And the rest of his arm, that is what offside. That's in the dark bit. The rest of his arm is in that dark bit, and that's offside. Werner was offside, but the only thing about him which was offside was his arm, and that's wrong. Obviously, that's what we're saying. But But the red dotted line to me is just.
I don't think he's offside. I think they probably messed up on it. But I mean, I don't think the law is that that your arm is count offside. Your armpit. You can't play the ball with your arm.
You're saying if your armpit is offside, then it's offside. What that now?
No, it's past the armpit. Past the armpit.
Fuck off.
Joey.
I'm sorry.
No, hold on.
I'm sorry.
But that's no. Those are the rules, though. Those are the rules because you can't play the ball. You can't play the ball past your shoulder or your armpit, pretty much.
But honestly,
you can't. That counts as handball. That counts as handball.
And
that's why
that
area of the arm.
I don't understand why. I don't understand why you
offside.
guys are debating what's offside and what's not. We've known all season that any offside decisions are based on anything that's over the line, whether it be your arm, like your toe, or whatever. That's been the whole rule season, including arms.
Here's the thing, though. No. Listen. Yeah. They could clearly draw the line from his hand and be like, there, offside.
Yeah.
Right. So why don't they just do that then?
Well, I don't think it's really relevant where they draw the line.
No, it is though, because why would they spend all this time? Right, we'll do it from this little bit right at the arm that's really, really close. But they wouldn't. They would just draw it from the hand and be like, it's clearly offside. You got the whole arm there. That's why the lines are so blurry when you zoom in.
Yeah.
So. Clearly, I don't even think we can properly see where they're probably drawing it, and I'm just saying that they're probably just drawing it from the shoulder or the armpit or wherever.
From that angle, if you were to look level, if you were
we don't even have a good. We don't have a good angle.
From that picture
you
sent.
Can't judge anything from this.
I really don't get what you're saying, Scott. Are you saying that he's not offside, or are you saying the line should be? Like the line, I think it doesn't really matter where the line is drawn.
Okay, let's start from fucking zero. Jesus,
I love this.
You're saying, alright, this is what you're saying. You're saying any part of your body can count as offside, including the hands, right? Am I correct in that? And that's what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So if someone has their hand offside, then they're gonna draw a line from their fucking hand. Yeah. That's what you're saying. That has never happened. We have never seen them drawing lines from people's hands. If they wanted to make this decision as quick as possible, they would have drawn a line from his hand instantly. You could see the massive gap. Done. But they're not doing that. They're drawing it pretty much again, the lines are blurry, so it looks like it's either the shoulder or towards the elbow. But it's so blurry you can't tell, and I'm just saying, you know what, they're just probably drawing it from the shoulder.
I'm not, yeah, what I was saying, what I've been saying is I don't really care where the line's drawn and where it's not, but the thing is, offsides have been given this season because players have had their arms offside. That is a fact, Skander. Players have been offside this season because of their arms. That is a fact.
I don't think so. I don't think that's true. I've never seen that. I've always seen them
That's
drawing
always happened this season. No,
from...
always this season. It's only been this season, well, since VAR's come in, like this season and last, but that's why it's so controversial.
I see Justin's point, because it's like Bamford and, as you were saying, Danny Ings instant as well. You know...
but why wouldn't they just draw it from their hands? It would be clearly obvious if someone's got their whole arm stretched out like that. It's clearly obvious. They always draw it from the furthest point of the body that is offside. They've always done that. So why would they cut like half the arm off to make it this really tight angle just to make a decision that would take longer to make? It doesn't work like that. The lines are just blurry. We can't see them properly from the angles they give us. I think they're just doing it they're trying to draw it from the shoulder, the armpit, but we're not getting the best angles, and when we zoom in, we get all blurry lines, so we can't really tell if the line's on the shoulder or if it's a little bit down
Werner's
the arm.
arm is offside.
Is that, it's probably on the shoulder because we can't fucking tell from the blurry lines.
Okay, yeah, all right, let's go over with this. It's on the shoulder. Werner's arm is offside. Do you agree?
I mean...
Yeah, I agree.
Do you agree, Skander, that Werner's arm is offside? Like the majority of his arm?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's why they've given it offside.
I don't understand the angle, though.
The angle? Well, yeah, I mean, they should have given us a clear
angle. The angle that they're giving us,
Wow, okay. Right.
That's the thing, they're not giving us a clear angle, so how am I meant to tell if it's offside or not? I'm pretty certain I don't think it is offside, because whenever it's a controversial decision like this one, or the West Brom one, or whatever, it's always like, well, we can't really tell from the angle they give us, It's almost as if they're trying to, I don't know what they're doing, I'm not saying there's corruption, but... I can't. How are you gonna expect me to tell from this angle? Look at the picture. How are you gonna expect me to tell from this angle whether he's actually onside or not? So I can't actually give you the answer. I don't know.
People have different perception.
I'm pretty certain he's not.
Well, to me, it looks like his arm's offside because who's the defender? I think it's Robertson actually. He's got his arm down by his side, hasn't he?
His arm doesn't count.
It does count, Skander. That's why they disallow goals this season, because players have had their arms in offside positions.
But they would be drawing the lines on their hands then. Because
I don't think necessarily. No.
Quicker decision. But why wouldn't they do that?
Because. So
if someone had their whole... listen, let me put this into context. If someone had their whole leg offside, or let's say up to their knee, and everything below the knee as they're running is offside, and instead of going to their toe, drawing a line from the toe, they go right to the kneecap to get 1 little millimetre of, you can clearly see this little bit of millimetre on his kneecap is offside after we spent 2 minutes looking at it. So it's offside. Well, we'd be like, well, why didn't you just draw it from the toe? It's pretty easy and obvious from there. They're not doing it from the hand because you can't play the ball with your arm, you can't play it with your hand. So they're drawing it from the shoulder and the armpit.
If it's from the leg, then yeah, I can understand why that's offside. But because they're doing it from the arm, and doing it from the shoulder, whatever, you know, that we don't use.
What they're trying to say is that his shoulder is offside. That's what they're trying to say in this picture.
Why is the line in front of his shoulder?
They're trying. Huh?
Why is the line in front of his shoulder?
That's what I'm saying. I don't think it is. I think they're trying to draw it on the shoulder, like around the shoulder area. But the lines are so blurry. They're giving us a really terrible angle, so we can't even judge it for ourselves. So, yeah. And my argument is that he's leaning forward, he's blurry, and his shoulders obviously would be... You know, your shoulder, you barge with your shoulder, so you can obviously move your shoulder a little bit further.
I mean, yeah, I get your point, Scott, but I never really, like... From the get-go, I never really questioned where the line was drawn or whatnot. I just said that goals are disallowed because players have their arms in offside positions, and it's a fact. I mean, Patrick, as Joey mentioned, Patrick Bamford, I think against Crystal Palace when he had his arm slightly offside. There's been quite a few cases like when players have just been pointing where they want the ball, and that ultimately has gone against them and ruled them offside. That's all I was saying. I don't really care where the line's drawn.
I don't think it's been their arm that's been offside. They're drawing it from their shoulder, so they're saying their shoulder is offside, and you can play the ball with your shoulder.
Yeah, but no, I don't agree with it.
I'm getting your point. Now. After so long, I'm getting your point.
I know. I mean, hold on, look. Here's the picture. I'm gonna check a quick screenshot, of the handball.
Right.
Picture that they're giving us. Right. So have a quick look at this. I've just sent it now. Or it's sending. The green area is no handball. The red area is handball. So the green area means you can play the ball with any part of that body. As you can see, that includes pretty much the shoulder, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So... And you can tell with that part of your shoulder, if you put your arm forward, it creates an extra bit of distance. So if you're doing what Werner's doing, pointing your arm, your shoulder's going out. That green part of the shoulder's going out. I'm saying they're drawing the lines from around there somewhere, and they're saying from that point it's offside. And I'm saying the lines are blurry and it's hard to tell.
But the headlines saying like, I'm just reading like the Patrick Bamford incident. Patrick Bamford's offside arm. That's the headline, and they choose to put that as the headline because there's more of the arm for people to see. Like it's a more blatant way of showing the decision. You know what I mean? Rather than saying, his shoulder's offside, because the shoulder's very, very minuscule. So I'm just saying, for headline purposes, and I'm asking if you agree with me. Do you think that's why they're putting offside arm in the headlines? Because it's more blatant to see for viewers, whereas offside shoulder.
It's just media, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's why everyone's been to believe. Well, but read mainly it's about the arm being offside because it's in the media, it's on the sport websites and everything. They won't put shoulder.
I'm having a quick look at that picture of the Bamford offside. He's got his whole arm pointed out. Why wouldn't they just draw it from his hand? It'd be the line. Look how close those lines are. They've probably spent minutes trying to judge whether that's offside or not. Those lines clearly, if they go up, they're just going up to his shoulder. They're not going to his hand. If they went to his hand, it'd be a clear offside, and it would have been done in 2 seconds. That's what I'm saying. Why would they? They would never do that if you had a whole leg offside. They wouldn't draw it from 1 millimetre of the leg. They'll just do clearly from the whole leg. You're offside.
Yeah, I still don't think it's his shoulder that's offside.
Saying.
To be honest, but I get your point. But I still don't think in that particular instance, I don't think his shoulder is further forward than Robertson's. I think Robertson's shoulder is further towards Alisson's goal.
But then what we're arguing is. Yeah, well, I can't really tell from here. I don't think he's offside. But that's a different story. We're basically saying, I don't think he's offside. That's what you're saying. And that's different from where are they drawing their lines.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just talking about the offside. But I think Werner is offside. But the only thing that's offside about Werner is his arm. And so
But
we're
doesn't
back
count as offside.
we're
Your
back
arm
to this
doesn't count as
again.
offside.
But I do believe that.
I don't think.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
think they're saying his arm's offside. I think they're saying his shoulder's offside.
But yeah, okay, fair enough to them, I guess. But to me, it doesn't look like that. It doesn't look like that. I think his shoulder's behind Robertson's.
Well, we don't have the best angles and we don't have the best lines drawn. It's just a bunch of. I mean, I've said it's blurry lines so much already.
Oh, mate. Have we got any plans, guys, or is it alright to be here till about 11 o'clock?
Yeah, I know. We're just going back and forth. I just...
Yeah, we might be here for a while. But yeah, all right then. Yeah, the
Should we
views.
just move on? Let's just agree to disagree
All
until
right.
the next incident
Right,
happens.
okay, Joey's just like, I can imagine Joey. It's like this tennis situation. Like Joey's just the umpire, just like looking at both sides, just like, what's going on here? The ball's not in that side. The ball's on that side. Ball's on that side. Oh my God, what's going on? But yes,
wow.
all right. Let's speak about well, we mentioned the Everton.
So about the actual game.
We went on to the disallowed goal, but in terms of the Everton, they actually won. Richarlison with a fairly simple header. Yeah, it's a fairly simple goal. Good win for them in the race. We'll go through the others as well. What do you guys make about Fulham Tottenham? There was another very controversial incident in that one as well.
Oh, here we go. Wait, hold on. We didn't even talk about the Chelsea